Good morning, everybody. Today is, what is today? Tuesday, April 18th, 2023, and we're doing yet another member interview. So, as these things go, please be patient for a sec here, and let's see if I can make this thing actually happen through the wonders of the internet and do a live interview here with one of the Linchpin members. I'm going to see if this gets some better sound with this headset here while doing an interview. All right, I see that he is watching, and now, Darryl, I just need you to reach out with a request to join, and I will get you in there. We'll go ahead and have a blast. All right, let's see here. Gotcha. Stand by. I think we got it. Patience, patience. What happened? I accepted it. Accept. Here we go. Hmm. Something is being weird. Darryl, I see your request and I'm tapping accept. For some reason, you're not joining. That's bizarre. Interesting. Darryl, see if you can withdraw your request and then try it again. Or maybe I could try to send you a request. That's odd. I don't know why. It says you're unable to join for some reason. Let me see here. The joy of computers. Yes, exactly. All right, let's see if I can make this happen somehow. Yeah, that's bizarre. Everything's looking how it should look. Oh,
Ah, there we go.
it worked. Did you have to do anything different, or why? I wonder why it suddenly worked.
I just accepted your request, and that's what got me in. So, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, hey, we made it happen, man. Appreciate you.
From halfway around the world. How about that?
Yeah, I was gonna say. So let everybody know, your name, where you are, and it's 5:45 a.m. here in Washington State on the west coast of the U.S. Where are you, and what time is it?
I am in Singapore, and it is 8:48 p.m. on Tuesday, April.
And what?
Yeah.
Again, thanks. I mean, thanks for making this happen, just with the time zones and all this stuff. But what in the world brings you to Singapore, and how long have you been there?
This is my third year here in Singapore. I'm an educator, so I work at an international school, and I've been in international education for 22 years. So I spent 17 in Korea and 2 in Malaysia.
Okay, we're already probably off track, which is good, but I'm curious by nature. So what's the difference between being an educator, being a teacher, and is there a specific subset that's international educator? And is it safe to say that's just the same thing, but you travel around the world? Like, what's the deal?
I think most international educators will say that because they may not be a teacher. Like I'm the high school, middle school principal. So I say
Okay.
it's easier to say educator. Oh, you work in a school. But if I say principal, especially somewhere like here, they think maybe it could be a local school. Principal means different things. So in some countries, the principal of the school is actually like the superintendent. And then other positions like, your high school principal would be like the head of secondary. So it's a bit nuanced depending on the country you're in.
And what does principal mean out in Singapore?
Uh, Principal, it's usually the head of school if it's in local schools. You're usually over the entire school system within that region. So you could manage 1,000 kids.
Is there any sort of work-life balance with being a principal, or are you basically there, from first thing in the morning until everybody leaves at night and
No,
have,
this school is pretty good. It depends on the school. It depends on the program. I coach soccer and I coach a CrossFit students class and a CrossFit teachers class on alternate days. And so I'm usually there until about 7 or 8 in the evening because then I got to try and squeeze my own thing in. Um, so yeah, it can be it can be time consuming, but it's good. I really enjoy the transformation in the community I have just by bringing CrossFit to the school. So that's been really cool.
And, you know, when I reached out, you're getting a lot of love in the comments, by the way, people saying you're the man.
Yeah, that
But when I,
he, he used to CrossFit with me in Korea. That guy, he can jump. I'd never seen anybody just come to the first CrossFit class and like 42-inch box jump without even blinking at it. It's
oh
crazy.
wow, you know, when I reached out to the community to say, hey, we're going to start doing these member interviews, you know, shoot me an email, give me a little bit of background on yourself and all that stuff, you know, how long you've been doing CrossFit or been with Linchpin. You said that you joined Linchpin in 2018, which is a long time ago, but you started doing CrossFit itself in 2017, about a year before that. And you mentioned that you were much heavier than you wanted to be and potentially had some issues going on with your back. So what was that all about?
Yeah, so 2017, I came back from Canada. I'm originally Canadian, so shout out to Boz. But yeah, I came back from Canada, and one of the things that we have to do every other year is a medical checkup. So it's actually a rule in Korea. And I went and did the every 2 year kind of medical checkup, and it came back, I mean, all red lines.
Mm,
Like it was colorful and not in the best sort of way.
right.
I 50 pounds heavier than I am now, but that was 50 pounds of very little muscle.
Oh,
There wasn't any much lean muscle mass on my body at that stage. I have just come off of a second herniated disc. That was my L4, L5. A few years prior, I herniated, I think it was L5, S1, which in between I did a marathon and a triathlon. So I got in swimming shape after the first herniated disc, and then started slowly getting back into running. And a friend convinced me to run a marathon, and then another friend convinced me to do a triathlon. And all of this was without any real sort of recovery or say therapy to deal with the back issue. So I developed a very weird running stride and did permanent damage to my SI joint. So when I
Did
say
you,
when the heavy deadlifts come up and I say there's no way, like if it's really bad, I can barely walk the next day because my hip and my left glute, my whole leg just goes numb.
oh,
So
wow.
it can be, but I haven't had that in a while.
Did you, did you injure your back through strength and conditioning or just through life?
The first injury was playing soccer. I got hit pretty poorly. I would say you don't get hit in soccer, but I got hit. It was a dirty play, and so I had to get carted off the field. And then the
Oh,
second injury,
wow.
enough, was my now 14-year-old son. I think he may have been 4 or 5 at the time. Came running across the living room and wanted Daddy to pick him up, and I bent down to pick him up. And when I picked him up, I was basically in that crouch position and told my wife, like, take them down to the playground because I don't know if I'm getting out of this. Um, that was pretty scary. That was one of those moments where, like, you don't know if you're going to pick up your children again, because I went through months of like having to crawl on my hands and knees to the shower. My wife would have to pull me out of bed. I could not function. It was scary. I remember walking with a cane. I had a back brace. Still tried to coach soccer, but it was a scary time. So when I go out and I deadlift 100 pounds, I think back to not being able to lift up a 30-pound child, and I'm quite happy with the deadlift of that.
Yeah. I mean, that must have been really scary as a father, incredibly scary to not know what the future holds. And I always think, you know, I've had some significant injuries, not from CrossFit, through like dumb things on motorcycles and stuff like that. And it's so humbling when you're used to being fit, used to being strong, used to being active, and then something happens to you and you can't put on your own shoes or something like that. Like the heck with doing a big squat clean or something monstrous. Like you can't do a simple life task. Like you look at a flight of stairs now and you go, oh man, there's 7 stairs there. I can't believe I have to get up 7 stairs. That's the stuff I always try to communicate to people is like, look, like train smart, right? Like train smart for the long term. Like it's really cool to want to just max out all the time and get these monster lifts. And if you keep rolling the dice and you get away with it, then you will be a hero on Instagram. But if you tweak yourself once, you will instantly realize how none of that was worth it. And you would have just rather had good, gradual, smart progress for years and be pain-free and not like being injured is that's no way to be. You do not want that. It is not worth it.
No, no. And that's one of the things I appreciate about Linchpin and the community is, I think I put it out a little bit. The last couple of weeks have been rough just in my own personal professional life and the support I got with that going on. But also, I've had to scale a lot more than I'm used to scaling. But then the support you get when you're scaling and, you see someone like Ben Gobert who can, lift a truck and you're lifting, his warm up weight. That's something you don't get in a lot of places. And so that's really cool.
RX is for chumps, man. Scaling's what all the cool kids do. That's what you got to do. Scale is the way to go. And and if you do this game long enough, and if you don't cherry pick workouts, I mean, CrossFit by its very nature is full of so much variance and complexity. Like something's going to cross your path that you're going to have to scale or modify, and hopefully you're open to that experience, or it's going to be a challenging road for you, or you're just going to cherry pick and avoid workouts, and that's not a good way to go either. So when you put on the 50 pounds of weight, was that due to being injured, suddenly being sedentary, and then it just piled on? Or was it, or do you look back and you're like, I was really making some poor nutritional choices during that time?
Yeah, there were some poor nutritional choices during that time as well. Just everything was off. Nothing was on. So I couldn't be active. And so, wallowing in self-pity of, well, I just finished, 2013, I ran a marathon and completed an Olympic distance triathlon in the same
Oh,
year.
wow.
And, I had gone from that euphoric high of doing two pretty significant, lifetime things, and then not being able to walk the half a mile from my school to my apartment without having to stop on the 4 park benches along the way. That's quite humbling and depressing. So yeah, some dark places we went into, and substance, alcohol was a huge part of that. Eating was a huge part of that. Some very silly choices, but yeah, thankfully when I got those red markers, my friends, they're still friends. I'll still call them friends, but they got me into CrossFit. I actually I went for a trial at a box that was run by a former student that I had taught. And he was doing a free trial. So I went. I don't remember the first workout. I remember there was a kettlebell and a box. And that's all I really remember about it. I remember sitting on the floor thinking, I'm never doing this again. I mean,
Amen to that.
yeah. And they came and picked me up the next morning at, that was a Friday workout. And then Saturday was kind of an open gym partner day. And they came and picked me up. They're like, no, you're coming. And I threw down to 6 months. I said, okay, I'm going to sign up for 6 months. Here's my money, because if I do it for a long term, I'll be in it. I won't. But if I go month to month, it's easy to back out after a month. So I said 6 months, let's see what happens. And the rest is history. Here I am, what is it, 5 years, 6 years later now?
One of the things that you mentioned, which I hear all the time from people, and I'm not preaching on this, so hopefully it doesn't come off that way as well, but especially with people that have had a significant amount of weight come off their body, it is amazing how much alcohol plays a part in that. I mean, it's just so easy to drink the calories, and then it's not just the calories with alcohol, but just some other, negative effects that don't exactly propel your fitness and metabolism forward. That is just suddenly the removing of that tends to just people like the weight's just coming off left and right. It's amazing how much that by itself can do it. But the other, I'm sure it wasn't just that. And another thing I feel confident saying from just talking to a lot of people is, if people do struggle with compliance of getting into the gym and working out, and struggle with the compliance of eating well, it seems like between those two, more people walk into the gym regularly, and the tougher thing would be the diet. I think with most people, it's like, yeah, I can get myself into the gym, but darn, that food is tasty. So to get 50 pounds off, that's some discipline and motivation. What was the change? Did you do something on your own, or did you follow some sort of program to get that weight off? Because that's a significant amount.
Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes. I went, completely a 180 and almost starved myself to death.
Mm-hmm.
Not paying attention, not really talking to anybody, just thinking, okay, I just need to cut my calories down. And so, I cut a large number of calories off, not really thinking about the protein, not really thinking about the macros and all that sort of stuff. I'd never heard of the zone diet. That was nothing I had ever heard of before. And then I tried to find some balance. It wasn't until the L1 seminar that I started learning about. We learned a little bit about zone diet, and then that's when I really started weighing things. And even then, there was lots of neglected meals with my family, and you talk about it a lot, like, well, that weird guy who won't go out and eat, won't hang out with friends.
It's tough to find that balance.
Yeah, and so I mean, I think I've got a good balance now. I don't think I'm as Instagram fit as I was, say, 3 years ago. But
it's all good.
Yeah, it's good balance in life. I can move better than most 46-year-olds I know. I can lift more than most 46-year-olds I know. I look better than most 46-year-olds I know, I think. So it's all good.
And how is your back feeling?
There'll be times when I can tell it's going to go a little off. It's usually during anything with deadlifting.
You just have to make smart choices.
Yeah. So a lot of times I'll take the Leo for the deadlift days. I see there's a 5x5 this week. Nobody likes Bulgarian split squats.
Yeah.
But, I'll take those over, hobbling around the next day or the next couple. It'll probably be both split squats.
100% agree. So let's see, where is it that you work out? Is it, garage? Is it outside? Is it a gym? Where do you hit the workouts?
So I took all of my outdoor equipment. I had a squat rack, and I had some dumbbells and a barbell and some plates and rings and kettlebells and things. I shipped it all from Malaysia to here when I moved back in 2020, and set it up at the school. So we got a little, half a classroom size space where we have everything set up. So that's kind of where I work out, and that's where I coach out of. We do go outside from time to time when we don't have enough space. But usually it's at school, unless it's like today. I just got back from picking my son up at soccer, and I moved the Friday sprints to today, and I was that crazy parent at the soccer pitch sprinting up and down the field like a madman every 3 minutes. So
that's pretty awesome. Hey, but that's what gets it done. You can make progress or you can make excuses, but you really can't kind of have both. So I think that's fantastic. What are some of the favorite lifts or movements or workouts that you really enjoy that put a smile on your face, and what are the ones that make you frown when you see them?
I think the easy one, the easy workout I love when it comes up is either the Chief or SQT. Those are the two that bring a smile to my face.
People love the Chief. Yeah. I think you would have a lot of support on that one.
Yeah. I would say the deadlift. I know that's not going to get many applause, but it just causes a lot of trouble.
Understandable.
You're never going to see me with a beautiful animal on my workout from a deadlift, but I don't think I'm also ever going to have to lift 130 kilos or 275, 300 pounds off the ground in life very often.
But also everybody's body's a little bit different. What you put yourself through, the tweaks that you've had, so everybody has to make a little bit of a different decision. And so if you're making the choices that you need to make, working around whatever you have, doing the best that you can, and you're head to toe, like you said, fitter and stronger at 46 than darn near anybody else you're seeing, and you're living as pain-free of a life as you can, man, I'd say you're winning. I mean, keep doing whatever you're doing, and the heck with anything else. How many days a week do you work out?
Normally 5.
Oh, you do get in 5. Okay, great.
Yeah. Sometimes I've got to, it's that 20 minutes. I have 20 minutes, so I'm going to go and, do the limited equipment option, and there's no warm up, so it's easier to take a pair of dumbbells and to throw those things around than it is to warm up to a
100%
barbell. So I'll try to get something in. I got a set of dumbbells at home from COVID when we weren't allowed to do anything. So I'll take those out from time to time, go downstairs. Then I'm that crazy guy in the apartment complex running and doing burpees over a set of dumbbells.
I'll tell you what, though, that might spark some conversations. We've heard that from other members that,
Yeah.
that quote unquote unusual behavior gets some, people might look at you with curiosity for a while and then eventually be like, man, that guy's still doing that stuff, a couple weeks, couple months later. And then they build up a little courage and ask a question. And then before you know it, you might have had a positive impact on somebody else's life. That's just how it starts,
Yeah. 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 True.
So back in 2018, when you joined Lynchpin, which is it's crazy, 5 years ago, what in the world was it that made you come over to our community? Because there's certainly other ones out there.
Yeah, I was kind of cherry picking from a bunch of different free places.
Mm.
I was on a forum or a group, I think on Facebook. Haley C. I don't know if she's still a member or not. I don't see her posts very often.
Yeah.
Australia.
Yep.
She was in that group, and I had posted in the group that it would be cool if I knew how to scale better. It would be cool if I could figure out the warm ups and how to cool down. And she mentioned Linchpin. She said, "Come to Linchpin. You get all of that." And so I think I did a 30-day free trial, and it didn't take very long for me to know that I was hooked. The stuff that even back then it wasn't what it was now. Like I think it's one of the things that those of us have been around for a while. There was no wild card. There was no. I don't even know.
No.
Was there even accessory stuff back 5 years?
No.
Right?
No. It's grown the offering has grown substantially. If you've been around since 2018, it was basically a bare bones offering back then, which is interesting.
I think we got the scale. I don't even know if we got the Leo Neo may have been a COVID thing.
Yeah, I don't think the dumbbells came around until COVID, to be honest with you.
Yeah. That,
Yeah, so it's been a heck of an evolution. Well, I don't know. I don't want to put you on the spot, thinking about other members and whatnot, but I've been asking this question with a couple of people that I interviewed. Is there anybody in the Lynchpin community that you either interact with or you just see and their posts or their behavior motivates you or inspires you in some sort of way to get after it?
I mean, I think everybody's going to say our crazy French friend, but I, I think Nick. I think for me, the humility that man shows and just the consistency and the love for his wife and the way he just expresses that. There's so much positivity that comes out of him. So for me, that's probably the one that I like to go to. And then Melanie, I mean, what she's able to do, given all that's going on around her, that's incredibly inspiring as well. I can't imagine having children.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed. Yeah. Nick B's fantastic. And Melanie, I think I saw Melanie's post today in the 5x5 deadlifts. And, she's not a big human being. I think she pulled 5x5 deadlift at 250 pounds for a new PR, which is ridiculous.
that's more than I'm going to do. I'm not touching not out of five.
No, no. I mean, that's a serious lift. Well, uh, let's say out of curiosity before I let you go, I've never been to Singapore. Is there any particular tasty treats or delicacies in Singapore that if we ever make our way out there that we should make sure we enjoy?
I think the Singaporeans would tell you chili crab,
Oh, I've never heard of that. Is it just what it sounds like?
chili sauce, kind of a chili paste over crab. That would probably be the one that they would want to take you out for. Singapore is a melting pot of foods. We got so many cultures here. So there's Indian food, there's Malaysian food, there's Indonesian food, there's Chinese food.
Oh, wow.
It's almost like in some small way, like when someone says, "Well, what's Canadian food or what's American food?" You really got to scratch your head because people eat it all over the world, and so here they've got that melting pot. But I think chili crab will be the one. But if you're
Okay,
going
chili crab.
chicken rice, that's the cheap one. That's like the fast food. I need something quick, just regular rice and some steamed or roasted chicken just thrown on it.
Well, I would be probably negligent if I didn't ask this to at least maybe close out, which is you've got CrossFit going on, you're the principal, it's at a school. That's always an interesting environment. So what does CrossFit look like at your school? Is it some sort of voluntary program? Is it the PE? What is CrossFit there?
Yeah, so we've got a couple different things. In with my middle school students, it's a lot of body weight movement. So they come in and it's just really learning how to do a ring row well, keeping your core tight, have that full range of motion, doing a push-up well, starting with the knee push-up. Some of them start with the wall push-up, but doing the movements well, not just,
Good for
rolling
you.
1980s breakdancing worm that
Yes.
um, sit-ups well and the air squat well and squat therapy and single leg deadlifts, all things without resistance. And then that's in the middle school. And then we move into the high school. And that's when we start bringing in some of the barbell and dumbbell movements. I've got two courses that I run that I'm going to hand off to another teacher who's going to get CrossFit certified here soon. And that's more about the first one is just how do I do the 9 foundational movements and do them well? And then how do I put together a program? Like, how do I know what I need and trying to piece that together? And then the next one is more individual. They kind of come in with a plan, and I just supervise them, kind of like your regular CrossFit class. Like I'm walking the floor, I'm coaching them. And then after school, we've got students who voluntarily come in, and we've got teachers who voluntarily come in. I actually had to
That's
put
awesome.
that on the teachers. Um, Crazy. There was times when we had 20 people in there. It's just such a small space, and there's just one of me, and I mean, yeah, I
It's
had to.
a great problem to have.
It is, yeah. Because it's a not-for-profit affiliate, I don't pay the fees, so they don't pay any fees, and
Hmm.
it's all for free. And we've got some really good parents who've donated some equipment. So the last 2 years, I've dollars worth of equipment donated by various parents along the way. So that's been really cool. Um, yeah, that's kind of how it looks. We do make it required for athletes in preseason. So if you're 2-3 weeks away from starting soccer season and you're not already in a sport, it is required for you to come. The coach will come, but that's more conditioning. So you don't really have time to be doing this, the Olympic movements. So you'll do a lot of kettlebell swings and box jumps and
Hmm.
sprinting and ring rows and push-ups and air squats and that sort of stuff.
That's cool, man. Anytime I hear somebody like that making it happen, it warms my heart. So I appreciate you sharing a bit, not only of your personal story, but your story of what's going on at your school as well. And I want to just let everybody know, my goal, as I've said, is to do more of these interviews with Linchpin members. I should have started a long time ago, but just, there's always too much to do in the to-do list. So if you are a member of the Linchpin private track, shoot me an email at info@crossfitlinchpin.com and just put your name and when you joined in the subject line there. And I've got a bunch stacked up. So by the way, I let people know if I didn't respond to you right away, it's sitting in the queue, and I'll get to you. I did see it, and well, like I said, I've got a bunch sitting in there, which is really awesome. But Darryl, man, I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate you being around for so long. I appreciate you being such a genuine individual and being so open and honest about your story. And I look forward to seeing you post continually. But keep up the good work out there.
All right, man. Thanks, Pat. You have a good day.
Yeah, have a good night. Bye.
All right.